Now, the American civil rights campaigner and former presidential candidate, Reverend Jesse Jackson, joins us live from Chicago. Reverend Jackson, could this be a turning point for civil rights in the American South, or is it a mere chance that a mobile phone was there?
Maybe a mere chance the mobile phone was there, because this is such a pattern. I mean, this is the Amadou Diallo killing in New York City by police, shot 41 times, and they were set free. They beat Rodney King nearly to death. It was on camera, and they walked away free. Eric Garner being choked to death by policemen while other police watched him and did nothing. And so the pattern, Oscar Grant in Oakland, California, and it seems to be without impunity, that those who do it tend to walk away.
The shocking aspect, in a way, too, if one studies the video, is the extent to which there is no effort to try to revive the man once he's down on the ground. And yet that has surely to be counterbalanced with the fact that the mayor was absolute about the fact that the policeman would face the murder charge.
Well, the fact that this is an act of terrorism is not just that the mayor would respond in this way, but what about the fellow police officers who share these thoughts? Do they rebel against it? But see, when we see the dramatic killing of someone, that touches us, it embarrasses us, really. What about the stop and frisk? What about police profiling? What about going before a judge and getting time that don't correspond to the crime? But South Carolina, 25% African American, in prison 75% prison labor. I mean, this is a part of the whole judicial climate of attacks upon black men in specifics.
But you have an African American president. How has that changed the dynamic?
Well, he comes under very great hostility himself. He comes under hostile attacks. Matter of fact, it was in South Carolina, from South Carolina, a congressman called him a liar in the will of the Congress, and went home that weekend and raised $3 million. I mean, he has been an object of vilification himself. Clearly, he has called for law and order and equal protection, but that appeal is not being honored.
But Reverend Jackson, this is a country that has put man into space, has some of the most sophisticated forces in the world, has done great good in the world as well, has Silicon Valley, has some of the brightest people on earth, and yet it can't sort its race relations.
Well, the country has racism in its DNA. 246 years of legal slavery. And after that, we turn over those persons to the former slave masters who resented that they had gotten their freedom. And between 1880 and 1950, there was 4,000 plus lynchings, acts of terror against black people who didn't even go through the court process, just after church celebrations on Sunday, killing blacks at the dock. And so that the terror against black people is a part of the legacy of our country. And while we're impressed with the scientific advance we made, there's a kind of moral bankruptcy in the question of racism.
A final question, Reverend Jackson. Will you give the court process in this case a chance, or do you believe there's a danger it'll be an all-white jury and will not face, in the end, toward justice?
I think that we find it's difficult to trust these juries. I mean, the guy that killed Michael Brown, the jury set him free. The police that beat Rodney King nearly to death, the jury set them free. The Trayvon Martin killing, this jury set them free. So racist jurists often come with racist conclusions. We must be some combination of demonstration and litigation and legislation and enforcement of the law, some combination of all those actions.
Reverend Jackson, thank you very much indeed for joining us.